Football fans often say there's a golden rule you should never break. Never fall in love with a lone player. It's a trap, a love with an expiration date. But let's be honest, it's impossible not to break that rule when you see a 19-year-old destroying defenses like he's playing in his backyard. We're talking about a player who has already been named Man of the Match 3 times in League One, performing at the highest level against both relegation teams and league giants. A player who was trained his whole life to be a classic number 9, the heir to Ronaldo Nazario, and suddenly you see him flying down the right wing as a winger, using otherworldly physical power and a left foot that is simply lethal. But to understand how he got to Lyon, we have to go back to where this phenomenon came from. Hendrik's rise is no coincidence. Since he was 13 or 14, his name was already echoing in Europe's biggest clubs. He was called the new Pelé, the heir to the throne. Heavy labels, ones that usually crush careers before they begin, but in his case, the talent was too obvious to ignore. At Palmeiras, he didn't just debut, he exploded at just 16 years old. While other kids were worrying about school exams, he was carrying one of the biggest clubs in South America. He won titles, scored crucial goals, and became the youngest player in Brazilian league history to score. His performance leading a historic comeback was the moment the world realized he wasn't a prospect. He was already a reality. With that resume, Europe became a battlefield. Barcelona wanted him. PSG offered millions. Chelsea tried to convince his family. But Real Madrid has a special pull for Brazilian talent. Florentino Perez, aware of what happened with Neymar, didn't want to repeat history. He closed the deal just 2 months after Hendrik's professional debut. Over 40 million euros for someone who couldn't even legally drive yet. The plan was clear. Hendrik would arrive at the Bernabeu at 18 to join the new Brazilian generation alongside Vinicius and Rodrigo. Spanish media welcomed him as a phenomenon, and Florentino told him, "We're waiting for you." But Hendrik answered on the pitch. In March 2024, before joining Madrid, he played for Brazil at Wembley against England and scored the winning goal, becoming the youngest scorer in that iconic stadium. 3 days later, he did it again at the Santiago Bernabeu against Spain. That moment became an icon of what football's next decade would look like. His arrival at Madrid in July 2024 was spectacular. A packed stadium, a Galactico presentation, and incredible efficiency. Even with limited minutes, every time he touched the ball, it ended up in the net. He scored in his La Liga debut in the Champions League and reached his peak in the Copa del Rey, becoming the team's top scorer with 5 goals in 6 matches, something not seen since Cristiano Ronaldo. Ancelotti even benched Mbappé to give him the starting role, but football is unpredictable. Just when he was about to take over the world, injury struck. A hamstring issue sidelined him for 4 months. He missed the end of the season and the Club World Cup. And while he recovered, everything changed. Ancelotti left to coach Brazil, and Xabi Alonso took over Madrid. For a 19-year-old, that means starting from scratch. The system changed, and the competition was brutal. Mbappé, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham. There was no room for everyone, and Hendrik was the one left out. He went from hero to invisible. 154 days without playing a single official minute. Watching others take his place while wearing the number 9, but only to sit on the bench. That absence cost him his place in the national team as well. Ancelotti, now Brazil's coach, stopped calling him up due to lack of match rhythm. It was a huge blow, but also the turning point. Hendrik realized that to become the best, he first needed to play, and Lyon gave him that chance. Today in France, that player who seemed lost is being reborn. He has regained his confidence, his power, and reminded the world why he was called a phenomenon. The talent never disappeared. It just needed trust, minutes, and a ball at his feet. Madrid is watching him, Lyon is enjoying him, and we can only sit back and watch him rewrite his story. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow for more content. See you next time. Ciao.